Well, hey there, my friends. It's Catherine from CatherinePooler.com. With the products in the Zest Bundle, you're going to be able to make some pretty gorgeous cards. So these were made by our brand ambassador, Alina, and I think they're gorgeous. I love the yellow and the white and the black and her use of all of these products. So let's take a look at what comes in the Zest Bundle. We have the fresh squeezed background stamp. We have created other floral scene background stamps and they have been huge crowd pleasers. So I know you guys are going to love this. And there is more than just meets the eye, whether you do ink blending over embossed background or just use a color on color, or maybe you want to color it in. There's lots of different looks you can get from just that one stamp. And then coordinating with that is our Zest Bouquet stamp set, the coordinating dies, and then we have our nested ovals dies, our Petal Connection cover plate, the Smile Beautiful stamp set, and the beautiful word die. Here is another card by Karen Baker, an ink blended background with glittery embossing over the top, and look how she used the beautiful die. And then I created this card just using the hearts from the Smile Beautiful stamp set, and I did black cardstock on the beautiful cutout and did Wanderlust embossing glitter on there. So let's see these stamps in action. So I'm going to use my Ken Oliver watercolor paper. One thing I love about this paper is how bright white it is. It's also smooth on one side and textured on the other. So when I have a very detailed image that I'm stamping, I like to use the smooth side, but the texture size is really nice and it feels kind of high end to me, and it looks really nice on a lot of projects. I'm going to use my Wow embossing pad, and I want to make sure this is really juicy because this is a very detailed stamp, so I'm just using my embossing ink pad refill and conditioner. And then I'm going to use my powder tool because this is such a detailed stamp. I really want to make sure that I don't have any grease or my fingers or anything that the embossing powder will stick to that I don't want it to. So I'm also using my Misty stamping tool because I'm going to ink and stamp this multiple times, again, to make sure that I get a fully covered stamped inked image and I don't miss any of this gorgeous detail. I'm going to use my Wow white embossing powder. This is super fine, and I'm just going to pour it on. Make sure I get the entire image covered. And then I will heat set it. So my image is all embossed and I trimmed off 1/4 inch from two sides. When you set your image or your paper in the Misty, the image does not go all the way to the edge of the rubber stamp. So when you stamp it, you're gonna miss just a little bit there. So I always start out with a larger piece of cardstock than I need for my actual card layer, and then I have room to trim down. So now I am going to do some watercoloring. So I'm gonna use the color palette of Lime Ricky. We'll use some Garden Party, Bellini and Tiara. I may do a little orange twist in here too. I don't know. We'll see how it starts looking. But one color palette for my greens and one for my orange and yellow. And then we'll add in some water. I'm going to do just some plain water there and then add water to my colors. I'm going to use a water brush, and this twists off the barrel, and then you can add water in here. And then you'll be able to watercolor it. It's a really great tool if you don't have one. I'm gonna go for a very loose watercolor look here. So I'm going to do all the greenery first, and then I'll let it dry, and then I'll go in and do all of the citrus pieces. I love the soft look I'm getting here, and I have a little more to do. So the little flowers in here, I think a really light melon ice would look nice on there.
So I'm going to use lots of water and just a little bit of color.
So these flowers I think need to be a little bit more lemony, so yellow. So I'm adding in some limoncello. And then for the background, I want a really light color wash of blue. So I'm using It's a Boy. I want it really, really light. So I'm going to try to get in just a tiny bit of color there. And sometimes my colors are running together a little bit. So oh, that's really dark. That is darker than I wanted it to be, so I'll just use my paper towel to dab it up. But I have a paper towel nearby to dab up any excess water, or if my colors start running together. The embossing actually really helps a lot keep the colors contained in the areas that you want it. But since I'm doing a loose watercolor, this is so detailed and there's such small spots, I am getting a little mixing here and there. But just keep that paper towel nearby and that will help a lot. So I'm liking the blue background here. I think that looks really nice. So here is my finished background. I'm really happy with the way this turned out, and it wasn't very hard to color in. So whether you use it to color in or use it a tone-on-tone background or a color or an embossing glitter or an embossing metallic on top of white or another color, this background stamp is stunning, and all it really needs is a sentiment. For the sentiment, we'll use the beautiful word die. So when you get your dies, there'll be two little metal tabs, and to separate them, just use a set of jewelry wire cutters and just snip that apart, and then you can use them separately. You can still stack them like this and send them through your die cutting machine and get an outline like this, or you can send this through and get a whole I like to call these cloud outlines, and then you can do just the beautiful. And look at how detailed and gorgeous that is. So for this layer, I want to emboss it. So I'm going to use my embossing pad, and I'll just dab that outline right onto it, because then I will be able to inlay my beautiful word die into this piece. I could cut them out separately and layer them on top of each other, but I thought inlaying would be really nice. So we'll just cover it with the metallic brass embossing powder. And then I'll be able to heat set this. And my coverage is not very even, and I even missed a few spots. So I can just dab this right back into the embossing pad and cover it again and add more embossing powder. So then I'm going to take the edge of a card layer. This is just 1/8 of an inch larger than my main image piece, the technique piece that I watercolored on. So it's going to layer between that piece and my card base. And I wanted to give it the metallic brass edge. So just dab that edge into your embossing powder and then cover it and heat set it. And then I'll have a metallic brass layer that coordinates with my metallic brass beautiful to layer between my layers. And then I'll cover the beautiful and I'll heat set both of these. Another way to add more embossing powder, if you're finding you're not getting full coverage, while it's still hot and wet, you can just dab it right into, dip it right into your embossing powder again, and then you're going to get a nice thick layer of embossing powder. So I added my watercolor piece to the embossed piece, and I think it looks really stunning. I added some dimensional adhesive to give it some height and add a little bit more elegance and sophistication to the card. So beautiful. I'm going to use that. Just laid that right in. And then I need a little secondary sentiment. So I thought Bellini might look nice. I did direct to paper, and then we'll use the powder tool just to dry it up and make sure there's no dampness left. Catherine Pooler inks stay wet just for a short time, so if I added embossing powder straight on here, it would adhere to and stick to everything. So drying it a little bit is going to help prevent that, and then it will just stick to this U. Let's do the metallic brass. So I added the Outline Beautiful with some liquid glue, and then I'm just fitting the inside piece right inside. I like to use a sharp tool like this Spellbinders Tool-in-One to kind of help me with placement. Really seems to help a lot. Don't forget the dot of the eye. And you know what? I don't see it here on my work surface. I cut out two. Oh, hey, I was smarter than I thought I was. I have this cute little triangle tray, and I just added it in there so I would know where it was later. Yay me. And we'll just add it to the center. The dot of the eye has a little center, and I'm going to poke that out because I don't have the centers in the rest. So we'll leave that open and just pop that in. I'm just going to trim around the U. Beautiful U. And then I think a few Vegas baby sequins would be really nice to finish this off. Here is a look at the finished card. Lots of great things going on here. So which technique will you try first using the fresh squeezed background stamp? White embossing and ink blended background, tone on tone, or watercoloring? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave me a comment in the notes below. Thank you so much for being along with the release of these new products. They all hit the shop on March 18th, and we are really excited to see what you create when you get them in your craft stash. Thanks for being here, and I will see you again soon.